What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. I'm going to be speaking about a really juicy subject in today's video. This is a subject so many people are afraid to touch on, and I can understand why. And I'm even going to be going into that a little bit for this video. I'm going to be talking about the superpower of being evil, some of the potential within evil itself, and some of the ancient wisdom behind allowing yourself to be evil. I'm really going to be dissecting the subject. I know that this is, shattering a lot of people's brains in the sense of, I can't believe you're talking about this. This sounds a little bit edgy. I'm not 100% sure where you're going with this. I'm not even sure if I want to watch the rest of the video, and that's completely understandable. If you don't want to watch the video, by all means, sign off. But I'm really going to be going into this as a professional occultist, and I'm going to be speaking about this from the lens of someone who understands the true nature of good and evil, as well as the modern time society we find ourselves living within. If this is something that you want to know a little bit more about, and you want to start unleashing that evil inside of yourself, this is a video that's for you. You have one thing to do, and that is to stay tuned. All right, let me first start with giving you a little bit of an understanding of who I am, just in case you're new to my channel. My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I'm a professional occultist. I'm fully initiated in the entirety of the Kabbalistic tree. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck. I'm studied when it comes to planetary energies in association with astrology. And I'm also aware of trauma and the nervous system. All right, that's just to give you a little bit of an understanding so that we can have a foundation for the rest of this video. But let's go right into the juicy subject that we have at hand today. So I'm talking about evil. Yes, accessing your inner evil and why this can literally be one of your biggest superpowers. But let me really make sure that I'm drawing a context here. As I'm speaking about evil, I'm talking about a certain level of expression of the true self. I am not telling you to do anything inappropriate. I'm not telling you to hurt anybody. I'm not telling you to do anything that is out of alignment with your own true self. So make sure you really stay tuned for this video so you can get the full understanding of what evil actually is and how to access some of the power that resides within the expression of evil. Well, first thing first, we live in a society today where there is tons and tons of moralistic programming. So what this means is that people tell you what is good and people tell you what is bad. People tell you you can think this. People tell you you shouldn't think this. People tell you this is the direction you need to walk down. People tell you this is the direction you need to stay away from. But then you take a nice mass collective look at most people and you see most people are stagnant on a spiritual and a physical level. In other words, they're finding themselves stuck in negative cycles that keep repeating over and over and over again, and they can't seem to find their way out. And this is largely due to repressed emotions in the nervous system and mindsets and belief patterns that they can't seem to break. And this also connects to unhealthy coping mechanisms, toxic relationships, and a whole host of other things. So if this is what's really going on, which it is, then why am I going to listen, or why would I even want to listen to another person who is stagnant in their life, spiritually and physically, and emotionally and mentally? Why would I want to listen to them in regards to how should I live my life? The answer to that question is, I don't want to listen to them and take advice on how I should live my life. I can listen and I can listen to understand, but I can also be aware that this person may not have the answers that are going to serve me in my personal self-development. So I need to have enough self-love to realize I'm going to discard this advice, or I'm going to discard this energy that this person is giving to me, and I'm going to make my own decision. I'm going to make a decision that feels right for me. So here's where we come into the talk about evil. Let me take a sip. Nice Mountain Valley water. This is really good water. All right, so the reason why evil can be such a beautiful power that you can tap into is because the truth is there is no such thing as evil. This is the big paradox. This is the big caveat. There is no such thing as evil. And for those of you that study my YouTube channel in depth, you will start to develop an awareness that what I'm saying is real. There really is no such thing as evil. There is no such thing as good either. What there is there is positive and there is negative. Positive and negative have to exist together to balance out our universe. So in other words, there has to be people that are stagnant in order for there to be people that are spiritually and physically, emotionally, mentally progressing with their self-development. There has to be the negative Nancy, the person who's stuck in tons of negative thought cycles, negative habits, negative beliefs, so that there can be positive people, people that have positive views on their life and people that have positive habits in their everyday life. So when we're talking about good and evil, we're literally talking about the difference between positive and negative. So why can it be so important to embrace the inner evil inside of us? Because the inner evil is always going to be predicated on a deep negative energy inside of the body. So this oftentimes revolves around repressed negative emotions like fear, anger, sadness, and these are some of the three primary emotions that a lot of us store in our body due to past unhealed trauma. Now, this isn't a bad thing. This is a part of evolution, and this is just a hard reality. But because of these negative repressed emotions, it becomes very important for us to learn how to express what is inside of our body. And sometimes, in order to express some of these repressed emotions, we have to do very taboo types of things. We have to do things that really go against the grain. We have to sometimes say things and even believe things at times that are a little bit different than what the mass collective is on board with. Different to the extent that it can literally paint us in a light of looking strange, weird, evil. Okay? So in other words, sometimes if we're looking to express this true emotion of a deep-rooted fear, sadness, and oftentimes anger, that expression comes out in a very strange way, or a very weird way, or a very evil way, at least the way that someone else might perceive it. Remember what I said, at the end of the day, there is no such thing as evil. So sometimes to allow ourselves to actually feel what this inner evil is inside of us and not be afraid to express that in a healthy way because of what other people say or what other people think. So if I'm going to give you an example, let me say it like this. Let's say in my life, I want to start loving myself more. I want to start taking my power back. I feel like I've been a doormat for so many people. Maybe I have a lot of friends and I'm just always giving myself to help them. And I want to start reversing that energetic flow. I want to start taking my power back. I want to start living a life where I'm happy. All right? So if I'm in that position, though, where I'm giving away all my energy, let's say I find myself in relationships, and let's say I have a family too, that keeps reinforcing the belief of giving myself away. They keep reinforcing, oh, you're a great person. You're a good person. You always help others, and you always bend your back to make sure other people are okay, right? You have friends and you have family that just keep reinforcing this belief system, And in one way, it feels good because you're like, wow, I'm getting approval from my family. I'm getting approval from my friends. I feel like I'm doing something good here. I feel like I'm doing what's right in the universe by helping other people. So there is a little bit of a good feeling there. But remember, there's also another subtle feeling that says, wait a minute, you're not loving yourself to the extent that you could be loving yourself. And ultimately, you're actually doing yourself a very big disservice because you're not grounded in loving yourself. You don't have your foundation in self-love. So when you become aware of that and you start changing the energetic flow to bring it inwards, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to start loving myself now. I'm going to start claiming my power back. As I said, you may have relationships in your life that are built around fueling the version of you that gives yourself away to help others. So these people, when they see a shift in your behavior or when they start to see a shift in your internal state, they may start seeing the new you as being bad or as being evil. And they may try to convince you to go back to the old version of yourself. They may say things like, hey, that's not right. Or, hey, you're being arrogant. Hey, you're being selfish. Hey, you're only thinking about yourself. Hey, you only care about yourself. Why are you being like that? Don't you care about other people? Don't you think outside of yourself? So they may say little things like that, and ultimately, this is a form of gaslighting. So they're saying something that to one part of you resonates because the old version of you had to create an identity where you gave away yourself to help others. But the true you and the version of you that you're trying to further integrate with is saying, you know what, it's time for me to start loving myself more. I've been out of balance for a very long time, so I need to start loving myself more. And in order to bring this balance back in place, it's going to require me to really shift the dynamic of energy that I've been in. And that big shift can cause a real change in the way that other people perceive you, especially if they're used to you always giving yourself away, helping others at the cost of your own self-love. So when you go from giving yourself away and literally sacrificing your own self-love for others, and you start claiming that power back, there's a feeling that many people get that's a feeling of, wow, this person's a little bit dark. This person's a little bit evil. Wow, they're thinking about themselves a lot. Wow, do they not care about me anymore? They're not giving themselves away for me anymore. What's happening here? I don't like this. This is not comfortable. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't recognize this person anymore. So this is a really great example of someone starting to embrace their own self-love authentically, but in that process, they're having to express their inner evil by, yes, being a little bit more selfish and owning it. It's okay to own selfishness when it comes to your self-love. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm done breaking my back for you. I'm focused on me now. It's time that I love me. And sometimes in order to bring that balance, if we've been in the other state for such a long time, it requires a lot of expression of that inner darkness to recalibrate things. Because if you're always giving yourself away, there's a positive energy to that in an extent of always wanting to give, always wanting to help. So we need to start embracing some of those internal negative energies that you've been running away from giving yourself away. So we need to start feeling that inner darkness. We need to start getting in tune with this inner primal beast. And we all have this inside of us. We all have an instinctual primal version of ourself. Look, my throat is starting to access that primal voice that I have inside of me as I say this. But when we start to tap into this internal beast, we do become a little bit more selfish, and we do start viewing reality in a way that says, wait a minute, how can I help me? How can I benefit me? How can I love me? How can I break my back to make sure I'm in a good position? Which ultimately would not have us breaking our back, but you get the point. So this can be seen by many people as this person's changing a lot. This person's becoming a little bit dark. They're becoming a little bit evil. What's wrong with them? And really what's happening here is the person is rebalancing their energy field. They're starting to calibrate again because they realize they've been separated from their true self for a very long time. So in order to create that internal look and generate that self-love, there has to be another hard pull to the other end of the spectrum. So if they've been giving themselves away on one end of the spectrum, they need to shift it to the other side to start loving themselves in a little bit more, in a little bit of a more aggressive way, so that they can recalibrate, and then eventually it starts to balance itself. So the person doesn't, stay in that state where they're just so super selfish. So what I've seen in myself and in other people is that oftentimes when they find themselves in relationships or relationship dynamics that are fueling the version of themselves that keep them giving themselves away for the benefit of others, when they start to get out of those relationships, out of those dynamics, they start, like, the person changes drastically and they start claiming their power back. They start getting in tune with that inner primal self, that inner beast. They start wanting to gravitate towards darker energies in the universe and use them to work with themselves. And I've seen people's behaviors shift drastically, and it's very interesting. And once again, I was this person too. And I've been in that state where it's like, I'm worried about me and I'm focused on me, and that's all that matters right now. And as you do that and you self-love, within time, it balances itself out, where then you open up more and you realize, wow, because I love myself so much more now, I actually have a real authentic love for other people around me, like a real authentic and grounded love. The type of love where it's like, I love myself enough to create a boundary if the love that I'm giving you is going to end up hurting me. It's like, I love myself enough to claim my power, draw a boundary if I need to, and keep my power so that when it comes time for me to authentically love others, I have the most energy to do it. And if I realize I'm getting to a point where I'm overextending that love, draw a boundary, pull it back in, suck it back in, use it for myself, and then have much more of a authentic expression. And in this phase, though, where we're rebalancing ourselves and we're accessing that inner beast, we need to be okay with expressing our inner evil. We need to be okay with breaking moralistic structures. And remember, as I say this, I'm not saying break the law. I'm not saying do anything inappropriate. All of this needs to be done in a healthy expression. But what I am saying is, if people are placing mindsets and beliefs on you and telling you a certain set of rules that you need to follow, or else, these are some of the things that we need to directly start breaking. We need to start cracking these in half. We need to start saying, wait a minute, does this actually resonate with me? Because if it doesn't, I'm willing and I'm loving myself enough to say, fuck that, I'm moving in the other direction. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I don't care what you say anymore. I'm doing what I'm doing. Let's go. All right? This is that inner beast. And the inner beast really can't be stopped. And it's guiding you to your authentic self-expression. And you, in order to fully access the inner beast, you have to authentically express. So if you have a lot of repressed anger inside of you from past unhealed trauma, maybe you had parents that were terrible parents and they hurt you in many ways, and you just carry this visceral energy of anger and hatred in your body, guess what? That anger needs to come out. It needs to express. What are some of the ways that you can express that anger in a healthy way that also allows you to tap into this primal side of yourself? So there may be many people that you come in contact with that'll say, oh no, you can't be mad. You should just let it go. Don't be mad. Don't get upset. Don't get angry. Just, it's not worth it. It's not worth your time. Just put it away. Put it to the side. It doesn't matter. Pretend like it's not there. We're an adult. We understand we don't need to, react to this emotion. So there's a lot of people that play that moralistic high ground, and they play that I'm mature game where it's like, oh, the emotion doesn't matter. We can control the emotion and put it to the side. And I understand, and sometimes there is a time and a place for that. But ultimately, if you're really trying to find authentic self-expression, we need to acknowledge that there is an internal emotion that needs to be expressed. In this case, it's anger. Are you going to just dismiss it and moralistically say, oh, well, the anger's here, but I'm an adult, so I don't need to feel it? Or are you going to say, you know what, I'm angry and I am going to express this, but I'm going to find a healthy way to do it. Maybe when I communicate, I'm going to raise my voice a little bit more. Maybe I'm going to put some more oomph behind what I'm saying. Maybe I'm going to make stronger eye contact to the person that I'm angry with. And maybe I'm just going to let them know through eyes that, hey, I'm not playing around here. Maybe I'm going to start visualizing certain things, taking place, like, psychically projecting whatever it is that I need to psychically visualize in order to express that anger. So there's many ways you can do that. You could visualize yourself, beating somebody up if you needed to. These are all ways to express that healthy aggression. And these, to the normal person, would seem like evil things to allow yourself to do that are not good because they're bad. There must be bad karma that comes from this. And I am here to educate you, to let you know this is quite the opposite of receiving bad karma. This is quite the opposite of something that's evil. This is one of the truest forms of expressing real self-love and knowing of the self enough to say, I have this emotion in my body, whatever it is, and I need to start expressing it in some way that most oftentimes has to be in a taboo type of way. It has to be a way where we are breaking the rule sets, where we're breaking moralistic structures and moralistic programs. We're breaking the belief systems and the imprisonments that those in our environment have placed on us that we've allowed ourselves to be in. So at the end of the day, we're the ones allowing ourselves to be in the mental prisons that sometimes our environments are putting us in. And it's a string effect. Someone put them in the mental prison. Someone put them in the mental prison. Someone put them in the mental prison. And now you're just accepting the same mental prison as they're putting you into it. So at what point do you say, I'm breaking out of this, and in order to do it, I need to be the inner beast. I need to start fighting against the programming or fighting against the indoctrination, not by fighting it and resisting necessarily, but more so by realizing I need to start expressing what I actually feel. I need to start pursuing what I actually believe in this situation. I can't keep questioning myself and not taking action on what I'm actually feeling, because if I want to break out of this, I need to walk the path that I know is most valuable for me. And your emotions will always guide you in that direction, but it can be scary because if you've got this repressed anger or fear or sadness and it wants to find a form of expression, when you're going from the person that didn't ever allow yourself to be afraid, to be sad, or to be angry, and then you're switching something on where you're like allowing yourself to feel that, it's quite abrasive at first. It could come out in a little bit of a we could say maybe like an explosive way. You may have an altercation with someone where it's like you're starting to express for the first time, and then someone says something to you and it triggers you. You feel your emotion and you express. You say, hey, I don't like that. And maybe you lash out on them, and you haven't done that in years. Part of you may get a little bit scared after that. You're like, what just happened? Like, that's not like me. And here's the truth. It's not like the artificial version of you that you had to create to survive in your environment, but it is like the true self within you that is hurt and needs to express these repressed emotions. So you're just, in this moment, you're just getting used to the new version of you that is starting to express more authentically. And in my life, this really showed up as me embracing my inner evil. I dove directly into the occult, specifically the darker arts within the occult. I went right into the demonic realms where I started doing invocations and started communicating telepathically with some of the most quote-unquote evil beings in existence. I went directly to the demonic kings. I went directly to the devil himself, Lucifer. And I started asking questions. I had to express myself. I had to say, look, I've been hurt in my life. I feel lost. I want my power back. Help me get my power back. What will it take me to get my power back? What will it take me to step into my full potential? What will it take me to understand how the universe works? Because I've been through so much pain and so much suffering, I don't understand exactly why that happened. I don't fully understand what's going on in the world right now. What will it take for me to get my power back and have the awareness of what's going on within our universe? And as I was working with these energies, I had forms of expression that would look very evil to the average person. I started getting into witchcraft. I started getting into occult practices that sometimes were aggressive in nature. So psychic warfare. Psychic warfare was literally one of the most important ways that I started expressing my healthy aggression. I would take it out in the psychic realm. And guess what? It worked. And when it worked, that helped me express. And just in the act of doing the psychic warfare, I was just opening up the inner beast inside of me, and I was getting all that aggression out because I was so angry. And was I really, really angry at the person that I was using the psychic warfare on? Not really. It was really something connected to my early past, most likely connected to my parents, some past unhealed trauma. But I didn't know that in the moment. All I had and all I knew is that I was angry and I had hatred in me, and this needed to come out some way. So it came out for me in the form of psychic warfare when I would come across people that generally would trigger me based on my unhealed traumas. And when people would trigger me in that state, they were acting out of alignment with their true self. That's what triggered me in the first place. And I would use the psychic warfare. I would get dark. I would get into it. I become the demon, and I would send that energy out, and then there would usually be a period of tiredness afterwards, where it was like a period of calm, sort of like a period of peace. Then I'd be just laying out, I'd be relaxing, and then naturally I would start self-reflecting. Why did I do this on this person? Why was I so angry? What's behind all this? What am I feeling right now? Am I still angry? Am I what am I feeling? Can I allow myself to feel these present emotions? So all these things started surfacing when I started allowing myself to express this healthy aggression. Whereas previously in my life, I was bottling it all up because I was told it's inappropriate to express that. At the time, I even had a religious belief system. For me, it was Christianity, which was not allowing me by any means to express this inner negativity or this inner darkness I was storing in my body. So my religious belief system at that time was forcing me to hold this darkness in my body and put on a mask of I am this moralistically, right person. I am following God's law, and I am, a good Christian who's really obeying the Bible. And, that can only last as long as it can last, because we're all humans and we all have a similar energetic makeup. We all have a similar body and the way the body's designed, and we all have emotions, and everyone's emotions has to find ways to express. So it's only a matter of time until someone explodes, and then they have to express in an authentic way. And because I was really on the path of true self-knowing, that process happened sooner rather than later for me. That's why I didn't stay a Christian my entire life or for many years on end. I was a solid Christian for probably about 4 years, and then I just cracked like an egg, and I went right from Christianity into the darker arts. That's how much my pole shifted. I went right from that positive pole directly into the negative because I wasn't loving myself enough. And it's really in that negative pole where you start to water the roots of your being, of your body, where you start to realize, wow, there's a lot of darkness in me. There's a lot of negativity in me. And I need to be aware of that. And I need to start feeling what some of this repressed energy is in my body so that it doesn't govern me unconsciously anymore. And so that I don't have to keep wearing a fake mask trying to pretend like it's not there, just so I can fit in with society and be good. So for me, I got to the point where I said, fuck society. I'm going to be who I am. And if that means I need to come out and say I'm a black magician who does witchcraft and does psychic warfare on people that I don't like, so be it. I'll let the universe decide what happens next. And I open myself up in that way. And that's just how I started expressing myself. I just started being who I am and being okay with being evil. Being okay with saying, you know what? If I am breaking the laws of God, and if I am, damning myself to the point where I'm never going to make it to heaven, then that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to lean into it to my best ability. Because if I'm already dabbling with that, then I might as well fully lean into it and embody it. So if I'm not going to sit here and dance in the middle line and say, look, Christianity, I can always fall back on it. Let me try talking to Lucifer, or let me try talking to a demon to see what I should do here, and then maybe jump back to Christianity. That didn't work for me. I had to fully lean in and wake up this inner dragon that I had inside of me. And I was, it wasn't an easy process. It was scary, especially when I went from Christianity into the darker arts. I literally came to a point when I was doing invocations with Lucifer, where Lucifer, and I think I'll make an entire video on this subject. It's very fascinating, and I think maybe some of you will understand it. Some of you might resonate with it. But I was at a point literally where I was starting to do very consistent invocations with Lucifer, and I had developed a really strong communication, strong telepathic communication. And Lucifer was telling me, in order to move forward in the direction that I was trying to move, the direction of my true self, Lucifer said, you cannot rely on Jesus as your backbone in order to move into this new direction. So in other words, in my consciousness at that time, I was like getting into the occult. I was working with demons, but there was like a deep part of me that was like, I'm not sure if this is evil, and I'm not sure if I'm going to like be damned and not be able to make it into heaven if I go down this road. So in the back of my mind, if this doesn't work out the way that I think it will, then I'm going to just resort back to Christianity and resort back to asking Jesus for forgiveness, and then hopefully making it into heaven afterwards. This was something I was really dealing with in my consciousness just because of my religious trauma growing up. It was very severe. So I really thought that this was like a real thing. And Lucifer told me, like, straight out the gate, this is like very early on, Lucifer said, if you're wanting to move forward with me, basically with me as your guide, or as a mentor, or as an energy that exists inside of you that you have access to, you need to let go of this need for Jesus to save you. Not let go of Jesus as a whole, not let go of the idea of Jesus or the energetic principle of Jesus, but let go of the need for Jesus to save me. So Lucifer had me do a couple things that basically repelled the name of Jesus, just so that I could energetically separate from that attachment, basically so that I could cut the cord. And I did that, and it was scary because I felt like I was jumping into the deep end with no life raft. And I was embracing the totality of my inner evil. When I was doing that, I felt evil. And I went with it. I trusted it. And I started just embodying it. So when I started doing my invocations from that point on, I felt demonic. I felt dark. I felt that internal darkness. When I do my invocations now, when I'm in that space, when I'm working with darker energies, I become the dragon. I become the darkness within. I become one with it because it's a part of who I am. Just like when I'm connecting with people about the source and connecting with people about all the beauties of life and how the true self expresses, in those moments, I'm accessing that pure light within my body. Just that pure, joy of everything being connected and all of us, coming together to experience each other and experience our connection to the all. So it's like, it's important to express these energies that we have constantly moving through us, this masculine and this feminine, this light and this dark. And most of us have a really hard time experiencing the dark because of moralistic programming, because of societal indoctrination. And to access that inner evil is going to allow you to channel those negative repressed energies in your body to start surfacing them and expressing them in a healthy way. Now, if you don't know how to express these things in a healthy way, I would highly recommend you book a mentorship with me so that we can start working on cultivating a foundation for yourself so that you know how to start expressing your emotions in a healthy way, and ultimately, so that you know how to start feeling your emotions. We need to make sure that your life is in the right position so that you can actually start feeling your emotions, so that we can start regulating your nervous system and make sure you're expressing these energies in a healthy way that's going to work with you, not against you. All right, so the second link in the YouTube description is how you can book a mentorship with me. I would consider the 3-month mentorship. All right, I'll leave that there. But yes, this is the power of embracing your inner evil. And when you're doing it from a space of true self-expression, and when you're doing it from a space of wanting to truly evolve, to reach your highest potential, there is no such thing as karma in this circumstance. Karma comes to people who are actively using dark energy on other people that are trying to reach their highest potential. So let me say that one more time. Karma works on people or affects people that are using black magic or dark energy on other people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing in regards to their own true self-expression. So have you ever heard of a story where someone is just pursuing their self-growth, their spiritual evolution, they're minding their own business, they're doing everything they can to better know themselves, and then some person over here is like really triggered at them, is really upset, and they start sending dark energy to this person that was just following their true self. And the next thing you know, the person that starts getting triggered and sending all that dark energy, the universe corrects them. The universe checks them, and something bad happens to them. And the person that was just minding their own business, focusing on their true self-integration, they didn't even do anything. All they did was just focus on themselves. Whereas the other person was actually triggered and was sending dark energy to this person. But the person sending the dark energy who was triggered was the one that got affected in an unbeneficial way. This is how karma functions. So it all comes down to who is focused on their spiritual self-development, who's focused on their internal true self-integration, and are you aware of the cosmic laws enough to realize, if I'm going to be using dark energy, am I using this on something that is artificial? Am I using this on something that is out of alignment with their true self? Or am I using it on a structure that is meant to mislead other people from their true self? Or am I using it to further distract people from their true self and hurt people or try to hurt people that are following their true self-integration? So if I'm using black magic on things that are artificial and separated from the true self, I gain benefits and power from that. If I use it in the other way, where I'm trying to harm people's true self and harm their spiritual self-development, if they're actually focused on it, I get the effects from it. I get the karma that comes back. So there really is a way to use black magic, to use psychic warfare without receiving the negative effects of the karma that's behind it. And this awareness that I'm sharing with you is a Luciferian knowing. This is what Luciferians really do use all the time. It's, Lucifer is the essence of the true knowledge of good and evil, positive and negative. And cosmic laws will always come into play there. So if I can, let's just put it this way. There's levels to this awareness. And there are many people that are stuck in the lower levels of consciousness that are using black magic or are using forms of psychic warfare. It may not be fully occult, but it could simply just be from the mind. And they're using it on other people because they're triggered and they're jealous and they're angry from their own unhealed trauma. And they're using it on other people that are just trying to fully know themselves. And then these people get consequences. Okay, bad things happen to them every time. Whereas then there's people that are using psychic warfare and they're using it in a way that's designed to be used on people that are stuck in a space of being in the artificial self, stuck in that space of wearing a mask. And that psychic warfare is designed to break that down and destroy the person to reach a point where it's like, okay, now what? Now where do I go? Now I have to start self-reflecting. I have to start knowing my true self. And it always comes down to the responsibility of the person to know how to work with that energy. There's a lot of responsibility when it comes to black magic. Let's just put it that way. But to bring it full circle, there's no karma when you're expressing your inner evil from the intention of integrating your true self and trying to evolve. If you're truly coming from that intention, you're going to see that same intention within other people around you, and you're going to psychically, emotionally know who is on that path and who is not on that path. And people that are not on that path oftentimes are going to be the people that trigger you, and you want to express that energy towards, that psychic warfare energy towards, or that inner anger or hatred, whatever it is. And if that's what you need to do, then let yourself do it, but do it in a healthy way. All right? This is the power of accessing your inner evil. This is really power. This is that negative energy charge that so many people are afraid to tap into within themselves. This is real potential. It's real power. It has to be accessed. How can you be powerful when you don't have an open channel of positive and negative energies in your body? How are you going to be powerful when you're holding down your monster, your inner beast, your negative energy, and you're only allowing yourself to express little slivers of light? When you allow yourself to fully express that negative energy in the healthy ways that it needs to come out, you are naturally gaining access to all the light inside of your expression as well. All the positive expression. I mean, you guys see what I do all the time, you ladies and gentlemen that are watching. I give out tons of free content where I am literally helping a lot of you transform your lives completely based on the things that I'm teaching. There's a lot of positivity there. There's a lot of light there. I am a light bearer for so many of you listening to this right now. But guess what? I'm also a black magician who has done some really, really dark things and has accessed a deep level of darkness within myself by diving really deep into my unconscious mind and expressing these emotions that were trapped in my body from maybe even past lives, but definitely from my past childhood experience and my traumas. All right. So when I say I've done dark things in the occult, I mean, like, I've seen myself as an evil magician. I've seen myself embrace that complete dragon inside, that inner reptilian, that monster that wants to dominate and have complete power over the planet. I've allowed myself to feel that and to express that. And the more that I express that and I can feel that, the more I'm being authentic to myself. And the more that I'm also starting to learn that as I express that energy, I find an internal balance that naturally starts to cultivate itself, where I don't always need to be that monster, or I don't always need to be that beast all the time. Only when I need to express it, it can come out. And as the more it comes out, the more integrated I become, the more balanced I become, the more I can be okay with simply just being in the present moment. The less I feel like I need to dominate the planet and control the universe. But the paradox is, if I can allow myself to find healthy ways to express that energy, the more I can find that present moment, and the more I can just express my true self in that present moment and really, be love and experience love. But it all has to happen with proper awareness, education, which I'm giving you, and then the ability to express. And you will never get there if you stay listening to other people's moralistic programs that tell you it's evil to do that or it's wrong to do that. That's the message. Wake up. We're going to leave it there. If this video spoke to you and it sparked something inside of you, if it woke you up in some way that was valuable, come down here right now. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know how this influenced you. Let me know honestly, what did this wake up inside of you? Did this start to bring out that inner beast inside of your body? Did it start to wake up a portion of your consciousness that said, you know what? This is happening to me now. I'm going to make a shift. All right. I'm going to start working on myself in ways that I previously never was before. And I'm going to try to break out of this prison that I allowed myself to be in. Let me know in the comment section if that's you. Also, let me know if you've been expressing this inner monster, this inner beast. Let me know if you're okay with your evil expression. And if you truly have the awareness that there is no such thing as good and evil. You're not evil at the end of the day. You're just expressing who you are and what you are. All right? It's okay. It's healthy. You're loved in this process and you're supported. So drop in the comment section. Let me know if that's what you've been doing. Now, hit the notification bell. Make sure you're getting notified whenever I'm posting this content. Can you imagine if you missed out on this video? Like, really? Like, just imagine that. You missed out on this video and you missed the opportunity to start channeling and waking up this inner monster inside of you that's been waiting to come out. So get notified, because there's going to be other videos that are just as transformative as this one. Now, come down here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you are subscribing to my YouTube channel. When you're subscribing, you're further linking into the content. And there really is energetic components that go behind that. So make sure you are subscribing. If not, forget about it. It is what it is. I also want to say this. You have my full permission to copy and paste this link, send it out to anyone, family, friends, social media platforms. Specifically send it to people, send it to places that will gain value from what it is that I was talking about. If you know anyone, or if you know anywhere where this is going to offer value, send it there. Spread it. Do your job. Do your role in regards to the evolutionary expression. This is going to help a lot of people. It's also going to help me, and I would appreciate it. It's going to help me build my empire. All right. Now, I want to take your awareness to a private Facebook community. If you go into the YouTube description, click down, scroll down, you're going to come across a link that says private Facebook community. You can click that, then you can request to join. In this private Facebook community, there is over 1,000 members where people are posting on a daily basis, and there have even been some significant relationships that have been formed from this community. People have met up in real life and really connected on a psychic and friendly level. Really cool. Like, I find that awesome. It's a really healthy community. And if you want to be around a lot of like-minded individuals and have a safe space to express, where people are not going to judge you and not going to think you're crazy or you're weird, most likely people are going to offer advice to help you navigate what it is that you're experiencing. Okay? So if you want that, definitely check it out. It's the private Facebook community. You know where to find it. Once you request to join, either myself or one of my moderators is going to add you in. Now, I'm going to take your awareness to literally the most important link within the entire description itself. It's the first link at the top. This is my Patreon. My Patreon has an entire vault of content, exclusive, not on my public YouTube channel. So if you're getting value from my public YouTube channel, then you need to join my Patreon. If you're really investing in yourself, if you're studying my content intentionally, if you're learning a lot from me, you need to be a part of the Patreon. Okay? When we look at the Patreon, if we go into tier number 3 or tier number 4, you are gaining access to something that is extremely life-changing and powerful. This is the vampire ritual that is performed on the 29th of every single month. This is a ritual, a real occult ritual, advanced, that is designed to completely shift your energetic structure to start spinning counterclockwise in nature. So what this starts doing is it starts shifting your awareness inwards. It becomes a lot more magnetic, so you can start taking your power back. So you can start loving yourself a lot more. And it also tunes you deeply into your own inner feminine energy. This is the energy of receptivity, the energy of letting go, trusting the process, and most importantly, feeling your emotions, because the only way we can transmute negative repressed emotions into positive is if we're feeling them. So this service literally changes the energy field. Really what it is it's a transfer from my energy body into yours, and it starts you on the process of developing these qualities and learning how to feel, which is literally the foundation to moving forward with doing the deeper levels of unconscious work. Okay, this also gives these individuals an ability to start pulling in energy from dark energy and chaos in the environment when these things happen, and to turn them into power and evolutionary potential. So rather than it being anxiety, fear, scared of what's happening, you actually start viewing it in a different way of potential and a deep knowing that all things happen for a reason and there is power within those circumstances. And you can tap into that with the right awareness, with the right energetic expression. That's what the service is designed to do. Now, also on top of that, you get your personal information, a picture, the date of your birth, your full name, and where you currently live, in what state. You get all this information, valuable personal information, placed in a crystal grid that I have that is a very advanced Atlantean crystal grid. I have an entire YouTube video on my channel that actually discusses this. If you type in vampire ritual and the Atlantean crystal grid, watch that video. It really goes into this in depth. But by taking part in the ritual service, you're getting your information placed inside of this grid, and the grid also helps to wake up all these different qualities and abilities within yourself by being more receptive, having a desire to start traveling into the deep unconscious and being a lot more protected in this work. Okay, the whole grid is boxed off by shungites, which literally protects from inorganic energies and helps the body to further detox from all different types of toxins. All right. Then I have a Taurus that is in the middle of the grid, constantly pumping out therapeutic frequencies. And I have an app. This Taurus literally pretty much cost me $1,000. It's the real deal. I got it from someone named iPyramids. If you want to do your research, you can do it. But it sits in my crystal grid and it's constantly beaming into the grid. And there are certain therapies, frequency-based therapies from all different types of subjects and genres that I'm going to be cycling through on a monthly basis for the members that are in that grid. So anyone that's placed in that grid, all those energetic properties that are associated with the grid are going to start waking up those same cellular functions, DNA functions, and genetic functions in the participants that are in the grid. And simply, if you leave the service, if you leave tier number 3 or tier number 4, I'm simply just going to remove you from the grid, and that'll be it. And if you join back in at some point, I'll add you back in. All right, that's how it works. I don't know anyone else that's doing this. A real ritual, occult ritual, followed by being placed in an advanced Atlantean crystal grid. This is like real ancient technology here that I'm utilizing that has the ability to shift a lot of people's lives if you're the type of person that's receptive to this type of transformation. And there have been, I've done this service on over 1,000 people at this point. I've been doing it for a little bit over 3 years. And there have been handfuls of people that have reached out to me after having received the service before the crystal grid. And they've told me that their lives have shifted drastically after receiving the service. All right, so there's personal feedback. If this is something that interests you, definitely consider it. That's tier number 3 or tier number 4 of the Patreon. All right, we're gonna leave it there. All right, that was long enough. So check it out. That's the first link, tier 3 or tier 4. Now we're gonna move into the second link below. This is another very important link. This is where you can book a personal mentorship with me. So if you want me as a spiritual guide for yourself to help you navigate the clip-off, if you're someone that's getting into deeper levels of occult initiation, it would be in your best interest to have a guide going into that process that has been through it and can help you learn from my mistakes that I've made that have led to unnecessary pain and suffering. I can help you navigate from some of the mistakes that I made so that you don't have to make them and that you can make the right decisions to get through it more effortlessly. But most importantly, what I'm doing within this mentorship, whether you're getting into the deeper levels of occult initiation or not, is I'm helping you just develop a deep foundation within yourself of safety so that as you're getting into deeper levels of self-development, nervous system regulation, working with the occult, you have a foundation and you have a safety net to know how to process these energies and to know what to turn to when things get overwhelming. This becomes one of the most important things to focus on because I have seen so many people get into the occult, get into initiation specifically, and do not have that foundation, and I have seen people fall. I have seen people get into it traumatized and get out of it way more traumatized to the point where they're not even really functioning in society anymore. And this happened to a really good friend of mine, which is why I'm so passionate about this. And I do believe in one way, the universe gave me that experience to see how important developing this foundation really is, because I didn't want to have to lose a really good friend in that way. Okay, so this is something personal for me, and I do have a gift for helping people understand what they need to know and go through the processes on how to prepare for deeper levels of spiritual development in general. All right. So the second link below is where you can book the mentorships with me, or there's the option to book a one-on-one call. If you want to get a taste on what it's like working with me from an hour-long phone call, definitely consider it. Or if you just have questions that you want to ask me for an hour long, okay? There are many people that study my content very intentionally, and they come to me with a list of questions. So all that is in the second link. We'll leave it there. Now, also within that same second link, you have an option to book a tarot card reading with me. This is going to be a very unique tarot card reading that you have not received anywhere else. I'm a professional occultist, so what I can do is I can pinpoint your reading and track it on the Kabbalistic tree. So I can literally tell you what you're experiencing and feeling in the present moment, and then what to expect within your near and your long-term future based on your positioning on the Kabbalistic tree, giving you the influences of what your experience is representing according to the tree, but just also giving you a very in-depth, raw, and honest perspective on what the card itself means for what you're going through. So it's one of the biggest values of how I do my readings. I don't give you some sugar-coated, positive-based, everything's going to be great kind of reading. I give it to you exactly how the cards are showing it to me. And I have a natural psychic gift. So I tend to say a lot of things that people need to hear. And as I'm saying it, I don't even know it. I'm just letting it come through. So if you want to take advantage of that, look into it. It's also in that second link below. I've done literally over 2,000 readings. I do one almost every single day. I get tons of valuable feedback. Definitely look into it. Second link below. Now we're going to wrap it up here. This is the third link below. You go down in that description, third link. This is where you can become a YouTube member. When you're a YouTube member, you're getting access to different benefits, but most importantly, you get the Psychic Warfare emoji program. This is a sequence of emojis that I've created myself, and they're based on real occult principles. And you can use them in a specific configuration. You link in the name of a target, hit enter, and it actually causes psychic effects to that target of your choice. This is literally the most simple way to use psychic warfare through the internet, and it's also an amazing way to express healthy aggression. So as what we were talking about in this video today, what are ways you can access that inner evil? This is one of those ways that's able to be expressed in a healthy way, okay? Because it's all done through the psychic realm, all right? So there's over 2,000 posts where members have already used it. There are members in this moment that are using it. If you want to use this for yourself, third link below, you click it, join at the top, and then you have access. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're coming to the close. I appreciate all of you very, very, very much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.